Hello everyone, this is Blanca. I hope you're having a great morning, afternoon, or evening. In today's video, I'm going to be making this pillowcase, which will fit a 12 by 16 small pillow. And I am calling this a Pillowcase Friend. So if you want to see how I made this, please keep on watching. I am starting with the front of my pillow, and I cut the main fabric to 13.5 inches wide to 17.5 inches long. And I also cut a lining fabric, which I just used plain white cotton fabric for a lining as well in the same size. Then for the back of my pillow, I am cutting the main fabric to 13.5 by 11.5 inches. And I'm cutting two pieces of that main fabric in the same size. And I'm also cutting two pieces of the lining to the same size. For the pockets, which are going to be a part of the front of the pillow, I am cutting a piece of a second main fabric to 13.5 inches wide and 15 inches in length. I am also cutting a strip of fabric, which is the main fabric, the pink one with the cats, to 13.5 inches wide by 1.5 inches long. And I am going to be adding this piece of fabric to one side of the second main fabric of the pocket. This is so that when I fold the pocket, you're going to be seeing a little piece of that main fabric at the bottom of the pocket. Next, I cut the ears, which for the ears I'm using 4 squares of the second fabric. These squares are 3.5 by 3.5 inches. And I am also cutting a piece of fusible fleece that I'm going to be adding to the ears. The fusible fleece part is just going to be cut a little bit smaller than the 3.5 by 3.5 main square, so approximately 3.25 by 3.25. Next, I cut the legs, the arms, the feet, and the hands. And I cut the legs and the arms from the second fabric, that's the pocket up with the gray, and the hands and the feet from the main cat fabric. The arms and the legs are 5.5 by 3.5 inches, and I cut 8 of those. And the hands and feet are 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And I also cut the fusible fleece so to give it some stability. And those pieces I cut to originally I had cut them to 7.5 by 3.5, but then these were too long, so I trimmed them to 3 inches by 5.5 inches because that needs to be smaller than the main fabric. And finally, the next thing that I'm going to do in regards to cutting fabrics is round the paws, the arms and the feet, and also the ears. So I'm going to be rounding the bottom of the feet and the hands, and then the top of the ears. So I'm just going to trim it. I'm using a rounded ruler that I have, but you can use a plate or anything round to make the edges round. And then I'm just gonna trim everything. So now it is time to sew everything together. I'm sewing the hands to the arms and the feet to the arms, and also the pocket I'm sewing that extra strip that I cut before to form the pocket, and I'm folding it in like this. And I am also adding the piece of fusible fleece to the pocket to give it some stability. After I sew the legs and feet together, and arms and feet together, is when I realized that the fusible fleece was way too long, so this is where I trimmed it. So again, the fusible fleece part ended up being 3 inches by 5.5 inches. Then the next step is to fuse the fusible fleece to the fabric. In this case, you'll follow the instructions from the fusible fleece that you buy. I did that to the pockets and then to the ears and the paws, and then I also sewed a trim on the top of the pocket and also the ears as well. So now it is time to assemble our whole pillow with all the different parts that we already put together. So this is the main front of the fabric. I'm just pinning it to the lining so that my fabric doesn't move. And then I am also making sure everything is straight and nothing moves so that I can add the pocket on top of it. Then after I pin everything, I want to make sure, everything is straight again, as I mentioned. And now I'm adding the pocket. And I'm going to be pinning the pocket. And also, as you notice, I did a little stitch at the top of the pocket just to finish it a little more. I'm pinning everything. I'm using these Wonder pins. I think those are really great. And I also folded the pocket in half so that I know where the middle is, because that's where I'm going to be sewing a stitch in the middle, maybe 3 or 4 times, so that the pocket has 2 pockets in the front. So I cut one big pocket and I'm gonna sew it down the middle so that I have 2 pockets in the front. Before we continue, I also wanted to show you the legs and arms, and as well as the ears that I sewed together. And as you can see, I also sewed a stitch around all of these so that it looks finished as well. So now I'm going to be pinning down my legs. These are going to be pinned down about 1.5 inches from the middle on each side. So I just went ahead and pinned those. And for the arms, what I did is that I cut a little angle. So I marked a point at the 1 inch on one side of the arm and then drew a line, and did the same thing for the other arm, because I wanted my arms to be a little, facing a little down, not straight. So I just cut a little angle, and then I went ahead and pinned both of them, the left and the right, just pointing inwards when you pin it, so that when you flip it, it will be in the right angle. And I pinned those approximately 3 inches from the edge of the pocket so that there was a nice space. And I went to sew a stitch around the edges of the legs and the arms to make sure these don't move when I put the back of my pillow together. Note that before I sewed the stitch to the front of the pillow for the legs, I actually trimmed 1 inch from each of the legs, because as I was looking at the arms and the legs, after trimming the arms, doing that angle, I noticed that the legs seemed a little bit too long, so I trimmed 1 inch. For the next part of the pillow, I am adding the back. So these are the 2 pieces that I had, and I sew in the lining to the main fabric. And as you can see here, the 2 pieces are a bit too long. I do want them to overlap a little bit in the middle, so that when you put the pillow in, you can put it through that opening. But the pieces are a little bit too long, so I decided to trim 1 inch from each of the pieces, actually 1.5 inches from each of the pieces. And then I am able to put them back on the front of the fabric, backwards, so that I can sew them in. And now I'm going to pin the back of my pillow to the front of my pillow, so the lining is facing up and the main fabric is facing down towards the front of the pillow. And I'm just using my Wonder clips to pin everything down, and also I'll probably use some pins as well. And as you can see, there's about 1.5 inches overlapping, and I purposely wanted to overlap so that when you put the pillow in, when you turn it inside out, you put the pillow in, there's some overlap there. And also, as you notice, I had forgotten to add the ears before when I added the legs and the arms. So I'm just going ahead and adding the ears now, and I am putting them about 1.5 inches from the middle on each side, and then I'm just gonna sew a stitch there so that the parts do not move. And now after sewing in the ears, I'm going to add again my back, and then just pin everything out and arrange it the way I want it. And I am going to use a 1/4 inch seam to sew around the pillow. And again, I don't have to leave any openings because the middle is already open, so that's gonna help me when I fold the pillow after sewing it. And by the way, all of my seams and everything I've done has been with a 1/4 inch, and I use a 1/4 inch guide because I want to be precise, but you don't have to use that if you don't need to. So now here is my pillow after I finish sewing all around it. I folded it inside out, and so everything is sewn in. And now what I'm going to do is actually add some hearts and some eyes and a little nose to the pillow. As you can see here, I added eyes and a little heart nose and some hearts to the pockets and also to the ears. I use heat transfer vinyl or iron-on. I actually use the Cricut iron-on, and to do that I put the hearts on the front and the back of the ears, and then on the pockets as well. So as you can see, it looks really cute. And the pillow that I'm going to insert is the 12 by 16 pillow. And you're gonna see that the actual pillowcase is a little bit bigger than the pillow, but I purposely made it a little bit bigger because when you wash this, it's going to shrink a little bit. And I also added a strip of velcro on the back in the middle of the pillow in the opening so that it will neatly close and look finished. So here is the final look of the pillow. So here is a picture of the finished pillow. This is the front of the pillow and this is the back of the pillow. I think it looks really cute. I also ended up doing some additional pillows. I did one Star Wars themed, and as you can see, I did the heart a little bit different, but it's the same concept. So that was the front, and then this is the back, and then this is front and back together, and I think it looks really nice as well. And then I did this other one with the Frozen theme, and again I added hearts to it, and that was the front, and then this is the back, and then here's the front and back together. So I think this all turned out really cute. I hope you really enjoyed watching this video. I think if you choose to, you could make one yourself as well. All you need is a sewing machine and then get your fabrics. I got all 100% cotton fabrics, and you don't need very much. Basically need half a yard of each of the main fabrics, and then half a yard of your lining fabric. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and follow me, and click that notification bell, and I'll see you next time.